Hi there, I'm Christine with What's Up Cupcake Whimsical Crafts, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I just got back from a 10-day trip to Japan. I am so excited to share details of this trip. This may be a long video. I wanted to share some of the details of the trip just because it's so much. I was there a long time and I did some shopping. I couldn't resist kind of indulging in things that were easier to find over there, that support my journaling habit and paper, pen, stationery kind of addiction. This was also actually the longest break I've taken from crochet in almost a year. So since I started my business, I really have just been kind of all in since last July. And I've probably crocheted every single day since then, if not more. But anyways, I did do a little bit of crochet on the flight there and then on the way back. But aside from that, I never picked up my stuff. I didn't bring much because I knew that I was going to probably be jet lagged, which was a huge factor. I was very jet lagged, especially in the beginning of the trip. And then I was just really busy kind of trying to take it all in. So in addition to talking about the trip, I wanted to also share details that I had hoped to record before I left on the trip, just kind of things I was doing in preparation, knowing that I was going to be gone. I worked on some market prep of crochet plushies. I was also working on stuff for my online store. I sell safety eyes that are hand painted, UV resin, amigurumi sticks, and stitch markers. And I had a few orders to get out. I also didn't close my shop while I was out. I really waffled on whether or not to do that. But I followed Safari Stitch's advice. She recently went on vacation and said that she doesn't put her shop on vacation. She just extends the processing times. So I did that. I did have someone reach out asking when something was going to ship. I was still within my shipping window and it like ate up at me that I couldn't ship it as soon as the order came in, because usually I do try to ship things within a couple days of something coming in. All of my stuff is already made in my Etsy store. I just don't like the pressure of having to make something that I would have to either have to duplicate something that I already made, and do I have the supplies? Like, I just want to be able to ship from what I have. So, you know, every time I would get an order notice while I was gone, I would stress a little because I knew that the stuff was just sitting for me, waiting for me at home, and that it would be such a quick turnaround if I was there. But I was on vacation and I'm glad I took it, but that's just my own like people pleaser tendencies. So if you did place an order, thank you so much. I'm sorry you had to wait a little longer for it to ship out. I did try to put in realistic ship times. And of course, I got back late last night. Like, by the time I got home, it was maybe 11:30, and jet lag. Woke up first thing this morning, and guess what I did? I packed orders. So I'm feeling better about it now that it's taken care of. But let's go ahead and just talk about some of the things I did prior to the trip, since I did not have the ability to record that video before I left. I was just too busy. I was slammed with work. And then again, trying to get all my orders out, trying to get everything done that I needed to do in preparation, then all of the packing, knowing I was going to be gone for 10 days, as well as knowing I was probably going to do a bit of shopping. So I had to like really coordinate how I packed my luggage to have some empty suitcases, as well as just not traveling heavy on the way there. But I got some fun things. I will have separate videos on those hauls. I'll just share a little bit of what I got on this video, but I think it's already going to be long, so let's jump right in. First things first, before I left, I did make a few items, so let's share some of those pieces with you. Some of these are new. All of my patterns of the items that I share will be linked in the description below. I officially have the website whatsupcupcakecrafts.com, and it ultimately redirects to the previous site that I had. So of course I had lovely little cards made for my orders to show, my details of my shop. I like writing handmade notes for orders or handwritten notes for orders and personalizing them. I just felt that I was starting to sacrifice the time in which I would be packing an order because I'd be stressing that I wouldn't have time to write the note out. I feel very fortunate that I have been getting a consistent amount of orders now that it was starting to stress me out that, like, was an order going to not ship out as fast as I wanted because I was writing a note. And some of the stuff I was writing, it was just repetitive. And so I printed out cards in Canva. Let me show these to you really quick. These are the cards that I made. They just have a little thank you, and it has all of my details. Unfortunately, the day that I printed these, I still had my old shop link or website link that links to all of my patterns that I use, my favorite yarns, my favorite market items, things like that. And the next day I was watching a video. I'll drop the name of the vlogger on the screen. I can't remember it off the top of my head, and I've been gone long enough that I haven't actually seen a video come out from them since I've been gone. She posts handmade small business tips, and one of the tips that she really emphasized was having your own website domain. I used to have What's Up Cupcake Crafts, not What's Up Cupcake Crafts. I used to have whatsupcupcake.com. Back in the day when I first started What's Up Cupcake, it was a cupcake business. This was over 20 years ago. This was back in the day when, like, Sprinkles was just coming out, all of that stuff. A friend and I had created What's Up Cupcake, and we were doing baking small business style from our homes. It was starting to pick up, and we realized we were kind of at a point of, like, do we pivot from our careers and go into a baking business, or do we kind of just step back from it because it was just taking up too much time? And ultimately, I wanted it to be something that I still love to do, and I was concerned that I was going to start to hate baking because it was just starting to become very time consuming. So we stepped back. I kept the What's Up Cupcake name just for other endeavors that I was working on, but I let go of the website, and a cupcake business in Texas bought it. They used it for a couple of years, and it's gone now. The bakery might still be there, but they don't have the website. But someone owns the website, and they're holding on to it. So I kind of learned my lesson from that. And to the point of this handmade business vlog, they said, have a domain name, because when all is said and done, if Etsy kicks me off the platform, whatever could happen, you have your domain name. So I took that to heart and immediately purchased the name. Of course, again, the day after I purchased this. So I am now going through all of them and crossing out that line and putting a sticker on there, because that website that was on there forwards directly to whatsupcupcakecrafts.com, which I'm very happy with. I love it. It's just very early stages of what I think it will ultimately look like. But for now, it's a great placeholder. It was just silly of me to have made this order at that time. Sometimes, knowing how I operate, I can pivot very quickly with decisions. So it is what it is. But I did get this. I still left space on it so that I can personalize some messages and still write something on there to the person placing the order. But it takes off some of the administrative task of, like, please leave a review if you enjoy your order, things like that. So that makes it a little easier now for me to be able to ship out things as soon as I get them, or shortly thereafter. Anyways, other things that I worked on. Let's share some of the items that I made for market prep, knowing that I have at least one market coming up in August. I applied for a couple others. One I didn't get into. I'm still waiting to hear back on another one. I think that announcement comes out later this week, so we'll see. But worst case, I did intend to take the summer off, except for this one August market that I signed up for beginning of the year, if not earlier than that. So some of the market prep I've been doing is related to that. So first things first, I made this cat holding things. This pattern is from AQ Crochets, and I use this yarn from Premier Basics. It's their new variegated yarn that they came out with, and I just really like how this cat turned out. I have previously made a couple of these cats, one holding a fish and the other holding a ball of yarn, so I wanted to use the variegated yarn to see how it came out, and I think it came out really cute. So yeah, that's the little cat holding things. I think I just made the one for this time, again trying to test out some of the new yarns that I had, and also continuing on with market prep. I think I wanted to make 4 of these cats holding things, and I had yet to make one holding a heart. Next up, I made another stitch pattern. This stitch pattern I thought was going to come out a lot smaller. Of course, that's going to be affected by the yarn that I chose, but I did finally get Elise Softy Plus with a recent restock of Elise Veludo that I got. If you've been here, I do order my Elise yarns from Turkey, so it can take a little bit of time to come, but the company I shop from is actually very quick. It's linked in the link in my description, but their pricing is fantastic, and I've seen some people use Elise Softy Plus, and I wanted to try it out. I'm really happy with it. It also coordinates with the yarn that I got from, I think it's YWY yarn. They're on Etsy, and I've mentioned them in my videos before, and they have some yarns that I don't know who the manufacturer is. It's the yarn is in a different language, the title and description, so I don't know what it's called, but it's a very soft yarn, and it pretty much matches the Elise Veludo yarn. So this little stitch is from Gooey Chai Dolls. It'll be linked. And this is Elise Softy Plus. It is super soft and plush. I did think it was going to come out smaller, and it did take a bit of time to do, not in like an overly cumbersome way, but just for the size of how it turned out. You know, it's hard because when I'm trying to figure out pricing, I want to make sure that I have a reasonable price that's not scaring away customers. But given that this is pretty small, I would charge probably a little less, or generally I'd want to charge less, but it did take over an hour to make because of the just amount of work that went into this. So the ears in general, I mean, Stitch, you gotta love him and his adorable ears, but that is a whole process making them. I do love that this blue is directly made within it, so you don't have to worry about lining the eyes or having felt eyes. So this is definitely on like my favorites of the patterns from that perspective. I don't love working with felt on my plushies, but it's a necessary thing sometimes. So yeah, very cute little stitch though. Just have to figure out his price. I'm guessing he'll be 20 bucks. But I will soon be doing an actual like mock setup of my booth, because I've been kind of noodling around the idea of changing up to a more consistent booth layout. I think that every layout I pretty much had in the last year was different, except for maybe my last 2 booth structures. So I just want to go in with a better plan for when I have a 10 by 10 space with a tent or without a tent, just to make setup easier. I also need to do inventory of all the things that I've been making since my last market, and in preparation for my upcoming markets, to get an idea of where I am and where pricing falls. So that is this stitch, and I will report back probably in a soon to come video of like what the pricing is for some of these stitch items that I'm coming out with, since there are a lot of them and they're all kind of varying shapes and sizes. This little beach bunny, I think that's what the pattern name is, or Miffy, if you know Miffy, is from Kawaii Cuddlebug. And it's just a very cute, sweet little pattern. I had this before in one of my spring markets and it sold very quickly. And I just hadn't had time to make it up again, but I did this time, and I hope to make at least one or two more because I really love it. And I love that you can like just kind of customize it with different flowers and dresses and so on. So that's very quick, straightforward pattern that I like making, and comes out really cute, and it just has a little bit of fuzz on its nose. So this next pattern, I think I found from Granny by Nature, and it's just this cute little alligator. I made two of them, I think, maybe more. They come together really fast. I was able to use the Bernat Mystical. I'm trying to go through my Bernat haul stash because I have a huge amount, and it's just not a yarn I reach for as much anymore. But I've been wanting to add little alligators and some other amphibians and reptiles to my collection. So these guys fit the bill. They were a very fun, easy pattern, and they are by Hook Crochet Co. So great pattern. I'll definitely make some more of them before my next market, and just a very satisfying, quick crochet make. In addition to that, I'm trying to think where this pattern, well, I know where this pattern came from, but someone was sharing a gift that they received from another crochet artist, and it in the gift had a really cute little crochet frog. And I saw it. They did not say where the pattern came from. I mean, they said who sent them the gift, but not where the pattern came from. And so I just did like a dive into frog patterns because I just wanted a cute little frog that wasn't like a giant toad or bullfrog. I just wanted a cute, simple little frog. And this fit the bill. It is by Mom Stitch Eddie, and it's actually a free pattern. So I made 3 of them. Another fun, quick pattern to make. I will probably have these for $12, maybe $10. But I love them. I just think they're adorable. And I actually had to buy more of the safety eyes that I have. I think this is 16, maybe 14, just because I've been going through a lot of them for all these little guys that I've been making. This item I actually posted on my Instagram already before I went on my trip, but kind of in honor of the How to Train Your Dragon movie that just came out, I made a fairy dragon. This one is standing. It's freestanding on its own. I love that. I have not really had a dragon pattern like that before. And I had to ask my kids about the tail because I saw the preview and I was like, sorry, there's like fuzz in my face. Is his tail red? And they're like, yes, because of this. And so they filled me in. These are the clover safety eyes that I have hand painted. I still have a few of these in my shop, but they have been hot. So all of my stuff is a one-time drop currently. I might change that model at some point. I do plan on making more green eyes in kind of a vibrant green like this. They will just be a little bit different just because, again, I like to have things already loaded and don't want to make something once, sell out of it, and then have to replicate that exactly. Like, it would just stress me out too much. So this pattern is by Snuggle Beans Crochet, and I love it. It was very fun to make. It's very cute, and I want to make them in every color and size, not just How to Train Your Dragon color ways. But yeah, I also am excited to see that movie when it comes out on streaming, because I hate going to the movies. If you've been here before, I've talked about it, and I made the exception for the live action Stitch movie, which I just love Stitch that much, but I do not normally make an exception for anything because I hate going to the movies. So many reasons. It's probably a therapy session, so we're not going to get into that today. All right, next up, I made, it's about time, these 2 little cupcakes. How cute are these? So these cupcakes are from the Therapy on My Hook mini bakery bundle, I think. And I actually plan on making these into bag charms. So I haven't done it yet because while I was gone, I just got these little charms in. Here, let's try and make it where you can actually see it. So I got these charms in, and they're just little cupcakes. So I'm going to attach them with a keyring, loop, all of that stuff, and some beads, and just make up some adorable little bag charms because I have been obsessed with bag charms, especially now. In case you can tell, my Labubus. We will get into that a little bit later in this video, but I'm going to turn these into bag charms. I can make a few more in different colors. But I was just excited to use my Premier Parfait in the like confetti colors because I've had them forever for the intent of cupcakes or ice cream or things like that. And I just hadn't found a cupcake pattern that was the right size and look. And this one absolutely fits the bill, and I love how they turn out. So I'm going to be making these in like all of the colors and excited to make them into little bag charms. And the company that I got the actual charm figures from is one that I've ordered my beads from before, and I'd share their information, but they're actually going out of business. Like, they're closing their business. And by the time this video airs, I think they're closed. So they just were, I happened to look them up because I was trying to find another charm or bead that I'd gotten from them in the past, and I saw that like their whole site was on clearance. So I think I bought every cupcake charm I could find because I was like, if anyone's gonna have a cupcake charm, it should be me at this point, and I might as well grab these. So I'm bummed that they're closing shop because they really were a great bead store on Etsy, but I'll just have to find a different one. I use the beads a lot for my stitch markers and bag charms in general, so it's something I'm gonna have to work on finding at a later date. That's a later Christine problem. This is a pattern I've already made before, just made another, and it's the Crochet Grove mini Brontosaurus. So fun, easy pattern. Again, I have not had dinosaurs at my booth before. I made 2 of her pattern when it came out, and I'm actually a tester for her new T-Rex pattern. I got selected for that while I was in Japan. I am a member of her Patreon and submitted to be a tester through that. So I'm going to be working on that later today. I am so excited to be back into crocheting again and having my full stash of yarn available to me, but that's a whole nother topic. Anyways, really love this little mini Brontosaurus pattern and was very excited to knock out another one before my trip. This next pattern is a restock for me, and it's one of the popular items that I sell. It is a small dragon pattern, and I actually made these because I had someone reach out to me on Instagram that had purchased from me at a market, and their friend's daughter had left with one of my dragons at some point since the market, and when she messaged me, that child had lost their dragon and she wanted to get a replacement for them. So I was happy to make a replacement for them. And then she was like, well, while you're at it, my kids would probably like it too. So I made them an extra dragon as well. And it's one of the items I like to batch make just because of the number of pieces with it. But it is this little gaggle of dragons. I actually made 6 of them, but sold 2. And yeah, I just was dragging down. I was just using up various yarn colors that have done well for the dragon. This one too. And then beyond that, just making more in some new colors because it's just an item that does really well at my booth. They're $17. I do my hand painted safety eyes on them and just coordinate with the color of the dragon that I'm making. But I think this is also a free pattern on their Instagram. So you can go to the link in my description for that. I just found the 4th frog. So I made 4 frogs. And then I also made another little popping axolotl This is the pattern from Cable and Canvas. I was a tester for this pattern. I did both the upright and the horizontal one. And I decided to go, I'll probably just make more of the upright. I just like the way that the face kind of appears in that. So I have 3 of them now. I'm going to make a few more because I think that they'll be popular. And this is that fuzzy yarn that's like a Lee's Softy Plus. But this is from the other manufacturer. So I'm just going to do a bunch of different colorways of this. And I thought I'd try yellow because I haven't done a yellow axolotl yet, but it was just nice and bright and sunny. We're getting to the end of my makes, but I made some chickens. So this was a replenishment of chickens. They are one of, if not the best-selling item that I had, and at my last market I sold out of pretty much all of the light neutral colors, so I just made a few more of these guys. My chickens are weighted. I started weighting them, adding weight to them. I just use the little poly pellets. I started adding weight to them maybe like March of my markets this year, and I felt like that just made them fly off the shelves faster. Like, well, also they didn't fly off the shelves at my market. Get that? They just used to blow over constantly. And I started weighting them because I thought a lot of people probably use the chickens more as decor. It just seems like one of those items that very much people are having in their kitchen or something like that, or they collect chickens. We have a lot of chicken owners around here. And so I started weighting them, and that really just kind of upped the level of people purchasing them. So don't mind me just tossing all of these little plushies into this basket. So these will all get tagged once I figure out their pricing and after I kind of do an idea of inventory. But in addition to that, I have one more item I want to share that I worked on. These are the little puppies that I recently started making for my adoption puppy kits. They are a little bigger than the previous puppies I was using. I was doing the Poggy's Place patterns, which I still love, and I'm going to use her patterns for my mystery boxes. But the mystery box price was the same as, or the mystery box items I do at $10 for that box. My puppy adoption kit I was doing at $14, and I just was having a hard time mentally with like justifying the price difference, given that you get the little adoption box and you get an adoption certificate. But beyond that, again, it's the $10 puppy that would fit into the mystery box at $10. So with this, it does take more effort and time. So I do feel like I can justify a slightly higher price of $14, for example, but I will likely do 15 because they do take more time. And I will do some sort of similar cat design. And maybe it's the loaf cat. I do the mini loaf cat. And I think I charged $16 for that. So I might just like kind of call it even. I don't know. I'm still deciding whether or not to continue with the loaf cat as it is. It is the Annie Carraway pattern that is beloved by all, but it's everywhere. It's very saturated at this point, and a lot of other people in my area do that pattern too, and I don't have a problem with that, but I might just need to do something a little bit different to align with the pricing of the adoption kit for the puppies, possibly fit into a cat adoption kit. I don't know yet. I do give the adoption certificates with the loaf cats when I do them, but I'm planning on the next couple weeks to figure out what my like cat item is going to be, if it's going to stay the loaf cat or if it's going to be something different. But here are these little puppies. And beyond that, let's just talk really quickly about what I actually did crochet when I was crocheting on my trip. And that was on the plane. So again, it was limited in terms of space and size of what I wanted to be able to like take up in my luggage. And so I decided I would finally work on the caterpillars. So these have obviously not been assembled. They're a hot mess, but I didn't want to bring stuffing. I didn't want to bring eyes. I just did the body pieces. I've had this pattern since it came out, and I made so many of these little pieces. So my plan this week is to finish now the rest of the process. This is a head that I made back in like January, and I never made another piece after that. I just was too busy in market prep of like regular items to ever proceed with making the rest of the caterpillars. So I went ahead and I brought just smaller quantities of yarn that I had in various colors to make the body pieces. I made 6 of each piece in the pink, orange, yellow, green, blue, and I only had time to make one purple tail end, but I plan on finishing these caterpillars hopefully this week so that I can finally have the results of all of this longest ever caterpillar pattern creation process. Before I went on my trip, I also did a Labubu unboxing, so I'm just going to drop that footage in here, but it basically rounds out my collection. I got all of these from either PopMart directly, or there's a little store in our mall. The first couple that I got were from them, and it was before PopMart like recently raised their prices. This store was an official reseller, but they definitely had a markup on their prices. So I only shopped from them initially because they were the local option, and at that time, Labubus were fairly new, so I could walk in and pick them up. Now they do videos of like lines wrapping through the mall. I don't have time for that. And the ones from PopMart, I technically don't have time for either. That was just pure luck. I have a friend, Linda, shout out Linda. She is my Labubu dealer because she has figured out the PopMart website in a way that I have not. And whenever I've tried for a drop, I have been unsuccessful, but she has been. And these that I recently got were duplicates that she had. And it just happened to be duplicates in colors that I wanted. So I said, hey, please, when they come, can I have them? And she said, of course. So I was able to purchase those directly from her without having to go through this crazy process. When I was in Tokyo, actually one of the first days that I was there, I happened to be walking in Shibuya, which was like a huge shopping area, and there was a PopMart pop-up, just a smaller kind of satellite store. It wasn't the flagship or anything in Tokyo, but it was there, and we were jet lagged. It was early. I happened to be walking by and stopped at like the window display, and someone came up and said, if you're here for the PopMart line, you have to go over here. I was like, okay. So I went ahead and jumped to the PopMart line. I was like, sure, why not? They did not have any of these Labubus. They only had the checkmate chess collection, like phone charms. So I picked up some of those, but I'm not gonna say I'm done with Labubus because I love mine, but I don't put them on my bag for multiple reasons. One, things that go on my bags get knocked around constantly, and I am too much of a perfectionist to do that with something like this. Also, I'm hearing too many stories of people being like attacked or having Labubus stolen from them. I love my Labubus as they are. I'm very happy with the ones that I have, and I am not in the place where I need to have them on a bag. So it's fine. I have other things on my bags at this point that I'm very happy with because I have become that person with all of the charms on my bags. Fine. But yeah, so can check out some Labubu unboxing. It's time to unbox a couple of Labubus. This is the Big Energy series, and thank you to Linda for helping me get these. Super cool. Oh my goodness! Look at this one. Oh, it's so cute. This might be one of my new favorites. I love the blue and purple variation. I know each of the Big Into Energies, you just don't know what you're going to get when it comes to the actual like colors. This one is Luck. And by colors, I mean like the fuzzy fabric colors, depending on where it is on the cut. Yay, I love Luck. All right. Look at it. Oh my goodness, look at the little toenails. So cute. And this one is Hope. Yay. I am very happy with these two from Big Into Energy. If you've been here, you know I don't like duplicates. I would love Serenity, the green one, but I will be very happy with these two, especially at the risk of not having to deal with trying to get more and the duplicates. So cute. Let's go put them in their new home. Okay, they're gonna go live in here. Sorry, little bird, you are being moved. We'll find a new spot for the little bird later, but we're gonna put them up on top. So now they can sit over my shoulder during my meetings. It's a happy little family. While we're at it with the unboxing, I did pick up a couple of items from that PopMart that I, again, were not Labubus, but were other characters that I wanted, or I already had a couple of and I wanted to expand my collection. So we're going to do that unboxing in a second. But one thing I was excited about, I like to give little candies or chocolates with my orders from my Etsy website, all of that. So I usually throw in a little candy. My boss is located in the UK and regularly brings me supplies of crunchies, double deckers, all of my favorite chocolate bars, things like that. So I was putting those in. I knew that Japan was known for like their various Kit Kat flavors, among other candies. So I kind of went crazy buying Kit Kats and things like that to put into my orders. So here is a little sampling. If you place an order from me, you will probably get some sort of candy like this. So I got, this is the Mount Fuji design. I think it's like a cheesecake with some sort of like fruit as well, flavor, like blueberry or something. I got orange, chocolate orange, peach, strawberry, matcha. I got these little milky treats. I've had the milky treat like when I was a kid, but I couldn't remember what it tasted like. I just knew I liked it. So I had one today for science to just see what I was going to be giving people, and it was delicious. It is like a candy you suck on, and then eventually it becomes kind of chewy soft. But yeah, if you place an order from me and you have a special request like Kit Kat, or I also got these chocolates called Black Thunders. They're buried in here, so I can't show them, but they're like it kind of has like a Rice Krispie texture in the center of them. They're so good. I bought a bunch of those, and I have more bags that I haven't opened because they wouldn't fit into this little bin. I need to figure out a little way of filling all of, or placing all of my like chocolates now that I have quite a stash of it. But yeah, so I will throw in a candy, just random, unless of course if you place an order and you just put in the comments of Kit Kat please, If it's a Kit Kat flavor I will definitely throw it in there. If you want to list a couple flavors, I can, if I have it, I'll throw it in. But yeah, so that was fun. I was very excited to add to the collection of candies and chocolates that I can just kind of throw in as a little treat when people place orders, because it's just something that brings me joy. And I love when businesses do that. I also had some high chews. Yeah, I think I got a lot. Most of the Kit Kats are in here. I do have sake flavor. I was not going to throw that in just because it's alcohol, even though I'm sure there's actually no alcohol in it. But yeah, I got lots and lots of flavors of these Kit Kats. And it was really fun kind of hunting them down in all of the stores. And yeah, let's do a little unboxing of my PopMart mystery boxes that I got, and then I will share some details of the trip, aside from like some of the hauls that I'll do in the future. All right, first we are going to do Pucky unboxing. I love this little Pucky set. I have 2 of them already, and I'll try and like put a picture of what I have on my screen. But it's just this whole little story of like Pucky going on an adventure, and I have wanted to add to it. I just hate duplicates from mystery boxes, and so I typically just don't buy more mystery boxes unless I know I'm not going to get a duplicate. So that's like with my Labubus. I have a couple have a seat. I have Exciting Macaroon. I have Big in Energy. But I probably won't buy any more of them because I don't want to get a duplicate, because I just don't want to like deal with then, do I resell it, or is that one I put on my bag? I don't know. The fun of it for me is just getting a couple and then calling it done. But because I love the Pucky set so much, like I seriously debated just getting a whole box of it when I was in Japan, because the price is so low over there. So the dollar to yen was fairly strong, and I want to say these were like $11, where normally I think they're maybe 16 to 19. I can't remember. Don't quote me on that, and I might just be totally exaggerating, but it really was like 10, $11 for this in Japan from the PopMart store. And that was a big difference from what I had gotten them for. I also am in Raleigh, North Carolina. I have no PopMarts by me, so I'd have to order them online, get them shipped. I feel like everything generally on PopMart has been harder to get since the Labubus really took off, so I also didn't want to deal with like just trying to fight people for a Pucky. But here we are. So let's see what I got, and hopefully it's not a duplicate. I'm not looking at the card. That's going to give it away. But also, I've never gotten a secret for any of the mystery boxes I've gotten. Will today be my lucky day? I probably shouldn't have said it out loud because... Ooh, I don't have this one. Oh, it looks so sad. It's in like a little boat. All right. Oh, there's more. It has like a stick. Oh, I get it. All right. It's holding a little stick. And this one is called Oh No. It says, in the morning, as Poco walked by the river, they spotted a beanie about to drown in a paper boat. That's sad. Yeah. So that is maybe a little morbid. I don't know. It's cute though. And just to share, so this is the card I got today. The other cards I had are Saved by the Cat, which was a little stacking one that had magnets in them, and Departure. So those are the other 2 I had already. So yay, excited to add one that I didn't have to my collection. Now let's see what this one is. Don't be a duplicate. I was just checking if one might be a secret. I don't have this one either. Yay. This was a gamble for me. I mean, again, I don't like dupes. This one, some little foam. It's so cute. I love like What's Up Cupcake whimsical crafts. I love whimsical little things. I love kind of fairy, elf, gnome stories. This is disguised. So, Poco gathered twigs and fallen leaves to make a monster costume. How cute is that? All right, they're going to go on my shelf to add to my collection. Now, the other two things that I got. So I got a Hirono bag charm of like a little backpack, another mystery box. I really like Hirono, especially because there is a Little Prince collection. I have the whole collection, of course, not the secret, but I do have the entire Little Prince collection, and I think Hirono is just cute in general. So let's see what this is. And I think I actually got this to open in Japan, and I just never did because I wanted to like just wait until I got home. Oh, it's the one that's on the box. So this one is called Staying Up. And it's a cute little backpack. So the reason I got this thinking I was originally going to open it in Japan is because they do use cash quite a bit, especially coins. There are gachapon machines everywhere. And if you don't know what that is, it's like the little vending machine. You throw in some coins and you get a little capsule. It's kind of a mystery box kind of thing. You don't usually know what's going to be in the capsule. It's one of a few items. And I knew I wanted to do some gachapon because it's, again, a lot of things that like normally I'm very into. Sanrio, or my kids are very into One Piece. So I got some One Piece gachapon for them. I'm not going to share all that because that would have no interest to me whatsoever. There were some other anime figures that I got that I thought were really cute, and so I got them also because I might have picked up some manga while I was there. Well, to be fair, I picked up some English translated manga only to discover that that's silly because they're not produced in Japan. They're usually produced in an English-speaking country like the United States, so there's a markup on them. So I did order some while I was there of things I saw while I was there because I do not know Japanese. I was getting very efficient at saying hello, thank you, excuse me, sorry. But beyond that, I was like, I should probably read some stuff that's already translated to start with, and then figure out how everyone else is doing it. Because I know that there are people who love manga, and I'm very excited to get into some of these stories, and I'll dive into some of what I picked up probably at a later video. I don't know. We'll see what I have time for in this video. But yeah, cute little Hirono backpack. Other ones that I could have gotten, but I honestly wasn't committed to really any of them. I just wanted a cute little bag charm bag to possibly hold my change while I was there. But I ended up getting a little like change pouch from a Sanrio store on my first night that I was there because I was already starting to like get change from cash transactions. So a lot of what I purchased was they did take credit card, but there were some stores where I just used cash or cash was preferred. I didn't have to deal with fees, all that stuff. It did come with a little rooted in memory. That's what the collection is, and it's staying up. So, yay. The last blind box that I got, I almost didn't get this. I do not necessarily love Crybaby, but I do love the Powerpuff Girls. So, again, the price was so reasonable that I was like, let me try my luck. And I also looked at like all of the options. I was like, I'd be pretty happy with any of these. So let's see what I got. I got the mayor. All right, well, of all the ones that I could have got, the mayor's pretty funny. So I did do a gachapon and I got Mojo Jojo, and that's the one that I wanted. So I was thrilled by that. Also, oh, I was gonna say, it looks like he's holding something. And he is holding the telephone, and there's a little stand for him. That's adorable. Okay, I'm happy I got the mayor, because honestly, if I was gonna get any of the girls, Bubbles was my favorite back in the day when I was watching Powerpuff Girls, but I'd probably just be torn about which one I actually got this time. But the mayor is just hilarious, so that's great that I got him. And his little phone. How cute. So I do have a display up there. I'll do a tour of my room. I've redone my room recently, in case you haven't noticed. And I have found better ways to display some of my trinkets and collectibles and things like that, in case you couldn't tell. So I'll do a tour of my new room, how I have all my yarn organized or lack thereof in a future video. It's still kind of coming together because I ordered these bookcases from IKEA, and some of them were available and then some were not. So it took a little while to get the final ones, but they came while I was away, and my husband helped to assemble them while I was out. So my room is like finally starting to fall into place. And I'm excited to show that because my previous room was really embarrassing how crazy it was. This one's still crazy because I have a lot of stuff for my business, and this is also the room where I do my like day job when I'm not in the office. So it wears many hats. But I also like having access to the things that I need for my business. So it works out. Let's talk about my trip for a little bit. So again, I'm going to share more details in future videos just because there's a lot, but I just wanted to share some of kind of my favorite things about this trip. I missed being in contact with this YouTube world. I really appreciate all of my followers who patiently waited. I did post an update that I wasn't going to have a video up on Monday because I normally do videos on Mondays, and being gone, not being able to film ahead of time, I was going to miss a week. And I, again, hated that because I also like consistency, but I just had to be realistic about what I could get done. So, that being said, I was having an amazing time, and I went on this trip. The opportunity kind of came up where my family was going to be there, and I love to travel. I had some miles, and I was like, why not meet up with them while I'm there? I also was able to meet up with a friend while I was there. I wasn't sure how things were going to fall into place, but it did. That being said, I had a lot of alone time, and I actually don't mind that when I travel. Like, I do get nervous when it comes to not speaking the language. In most of the places where I have traveled, English has been a dominant language, or the predominant language. So I love Scotland, Ireland, England. Like, I've traveled there several times, both solo and with my family over my lifespan. But last year I went to Amsterdam, met up with my family there. Before that, I had like a few days where I went to the Shetland Islands to kind of hunt down puffins because I am obsessed with them, and it's been a bucket list to see them up close. So I did that and then met my family in Amsterdam last year and had a blast, just also seeing Taylor Swift. So that was a whole part of the experience. But just going around Amsterdam with my family. So this time I went to Japan. I knew I was pretty much going to be staying within Tokyo, maybe have a day trip somewhere nearby, but it was going to be predominantly Tokyo. I would have loved to take my family. They're the pickiest eaters. I'm speaking for my husband too. Very picky. I was able to live my best life with all of the Japanese food, and it was wonderful. But I did have a lot of time by myself. My family was just doing other things. They did Disney. If I'm going to do Disney, I want to bring my kids and my husband with me. Also, it's summer in Japan. I live in North Carolina, and that's already too hot for me in the summer. I do not do well in heat. And Japan was having a crazy heat wave while I was there. So that was fun. But my family went to Disney Tokyo while I was there. And I just was like, I'll go shopping that day. In addition, they went to a baseball game. I'm not a sports person. If you've been here, I've maybe talked about that before. Tennis is the only thing I can kind of grasp just because I very loosely play it. Like I am by no means any good at it, but I can watch tennis. Baseball is probably on the bottom of the list of sports that I want to watch. The only reason I go to baseball games is for the food. You giving me free tickets, I probably still won't go. Or again, I'll go for the food and then I'll leave. Our power just went out. Maybe it just came back on. Welcome to North Carolina in the summer. Okay, so yeah, so I just had time on my own, and I don't know Japanese. I just really tried to research how things worked, train systems, all of that. I've heard so much about like the sophistication of the Japanese train system, so I was like, I can figure this out. Hold on one second. This is my child coping with the power being out. Love you. Okay.
Love you.
Love you. All right, so the power's out, but I can still record. I just can't edit. All right, so I don't even know what I was talking about. I think I was talking about the trains. I figured out the trains. I was so proud of myself. I flew in, by the way, very long flight. Raleigh does not go direct internationally, basically anywhere except for like Iceland and Germany. I'm exaggerating. It goes direct internationally a few places, but definitely not Japan. So I had a very long travel day getting there. I was so jet lagged for the first few days, and then of course acclimated. I don't want to like get ahead of myself, but I got back late last night and I woke up at a reasonable time this morning and was like ready to go. So maybe the jet lag coming back is not as bad. I had a very long travel day yesterday / the day before because I left Japan at 5 o'clock on Sunday and I was back in the States by 9 o'clock Sunday. That sounds short, but it was a 12-hour flight plus a 3-hour flight. It was not short. Getting there, I left on a Friday and arrived in Japan. I left Friday morning and arrived in Japan Saturday afternoon. I'm getting into the nitty gritty. But anyways, yeah, I figured out the train right from the get-go, from the airport to my hotel. So that was fantastic. I did so much walking. I was hitting all of my step goals while I was there. And I took the train most of the places I went. I did Uber a couple of times, but generally the train was so inexpensive. It was very straightforward. Google Maps was my friend. I have to give a shout out to a couple of YouTube vlogs that really helped me out. I'll put their names on the screen. But they like gave me tips of things to check out, foods to try, restaurants to try, as well as like how to navigate some of the things like the Suica card, which is what you pay for transportation with. Tapping on your phone was so easy. Loading it was amazing. They really are super punctual, and Google Maps would tell you like what platform to go to. I'd say that was the biggest help because I do not know the language, and even though it would say like the various train lines I needed to be on, the train stations in some cases could be so massive that I did not know where to go, or like I would spend so much time looking at signs, and I also didn't want to be that person like standing in the middle of a train station while people are like trying to navigate around me. Google Maps told me like be at platform 3. Okay. It would also tell me how crowded the train was, what the temperature was. It was amazing. I only got lost on the train once, and that was because I think I went the wrong direction. And so then I kind of had to reset and like get back onto the right train direction system. And I did go to the Izu Teddy Bear Museum. Very random, especially for someone who makes plushies, but they have a special build your own Totoro doll exhibit. So I had to do that. And that is not in Tokyo proper. It was on the Izu Peninsula. So I did have to take an express train for that, which was pretty cool. Except I did not know I had to book a seat. I asked my hotel concierge, and they were like, no, you don't. You did. You did have to book that seat. So that was a little stressful, but I got there. It was amazing, but I'll share more on that in my future video on my Ghibli haul because I got a lot of Studio Ghibli stuff. But yeah, I mean, it was an amazing country. I checked out a shrine. I went to the Imperial Palace and got into the guided tour for that. It was free, I think. You just had to be there early and be able to deal with the heat. So I instantly became like the locals, and I had brought an umbrella because it was supposed to rain the entire time I was on my trip. It only rained, I think, the first or second day. It was just unbearably hot. So I had my little handheld fan, like everyone else, and my little umbrella for shade, like everyone else. There was a sea of umbrellas and people holding fans everywhere, and I just joined the crowd. So those items were lifesavers. Also, apparently things to buy there, they have cooling mists and cooling like disposable towels or wipes. Ugh, those were all lifesavers. So use those a lot. Also, they have vending machines for drinks everywhere, streets, train stations, convenience stores. It's all very inexpensive, and the drinks are like ice cold. It was wonderful just being able to grab a water. I did have my water bottles I carried around, so I tried to be as eco-friendly as possible, but having the convenience too of just being able to get a cold drink when you were like dealing with extreme heat was wonderful. Um, yeah, I went to the Studio Ghibli Museum. I really wanted to go to Studio Ghibli Park, but of course, the week that I went was the week that it was closed for the summer. I think that it's open all summer except for that one week. I was so bummed. You had to buy tickets like 2 months in advance, regardless of when you went, but they didn't release any times. And when I looked, I was like, oh, it's because it's closed that week. Great. It's fine. Again, more reason to go back in the future. And my kids and husband want to go. So they'll just need to start eating Japanese food in advance of this trip when we go again in a couple years, maybe. Um, but like the food was amazing. Went to so many conveyor belt sushi places, and it was like $1.50, $2 for the most amazing sushi roll or nigiri sushi. They also like gave you prizes for the more sushi that you could eat. So I was like, you don't even have to give me this prize because I am so happy with all the sushi, but I'll take it. So you would put your plate in like this slot that would be in your little table setup. And for every few plates, you had the chance to like win a little gachapon prize. It was amazing. When we checked out at the sushi restaurants too, they'd be like, here's a coaster, like a free coaster because you ate sushi. It was amazing. I ate more than sushi. We had shabu shabu, gyoza. The shabu shabu experience was very I love shabu shabu. I haven't had it in years. And we found a place just walking the street. It had good reviews on Google. We walked in, They didn't speak a lick of English. We didn't speak a word of Japanese. And so we kind of used our translator apps, but ultimately we ordered a lot of food and we did not realize it until all of this food came out. And like one of the tables by us was like giggling at us because there was just so much food. But you live and you learn. It was delicious food. So there's that. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I had a single meal there that I did not like. And favorite places that I went, Harajuku was just such a fun area. I know that there are a lot of opinions on like going to the main street there. It's very touristy, but it just was such a experience in terms of like colors and outfits. I mean, like the clothes that I saw there, it was all amazing. There's just a very distinct fashion style in Japan, maybe in Tokyo in particular, but it was amazing to see. If I could pull it off, I would. But one, I was dying of heat, and I don't know how some people were wearing certain outfits because I was like, I would be melting in that. But also, I was just not the body type for a lot of the outfits that were being worn, and that's fine. But yeah, it just was like an amazing country, and I don't know, I could talk about so much of what I saw. And again, I will probably do another video or two of that because it was just an amazing experience. And yeah, thank you for bearing with my short recap for the purpose of this video. If you're a regular follower, thank you for your patience while I was away. Again, I would have loved to post while I was there, but I knew I just wasn't going to be editing and was exhausted a lot of the time just from both the jet lag, and then I had very full days of being on foot wandering Tokyo, and it was amazing. So that being said, I'm happy to be home. There's just something about being in your own bed again. I missed my dog so much. Luna was so excited to see me when I got home last night. Maybe more excited than the rest of my family, but you know, that's dogs. My cat's less excited. It is what it is. I did the Capybara Cafe. I just really, really wanted to see a capybara live and in person, and I'd heard such great things about the cafe. There's one in particular that many people go to. You have to like tickets to get into this cafe sold out instantly, and it was just me, myself, and I that went to it, and I was very happy there with these capybaras for my 30 minutes with them. There were a bunch of like other random strangers there. But just to be able to pet them for a few minutes, I fed them some carrots. They were snoozing. Apparently, they're very active late in the afternoon, and I grabbed the only time slot I could, which was at noon. So I got them during nap time. But they were very cute and massive. I knew that they were big. Definitely saw them and was like surprised that yes, they were that big. But their fur, I don't know what it is. It's very coarse. It was way more coarse than I thought it would be. I also did a mini pig cafe, which none of my family members wanted to see pigs. They were all like, ew, why would you want to see pigs? Because they're adorable and they were mini. And so one family member did go with me, my cousin, and we just had a wonderful time and had two little pigs that snuggled, like sat on the floor, and they immediately walked into our laps and conked out. And that was like the happiest 30 minutes in Japan. They were just so cute. So yeah, I want a mini pig. I'm not going to get one, but yeah, I would happily own one. They were adorable, and I don't think that my cats or dog would be impressed with that. But yeah, that was just again a snapshot of some of the things that I did. I did bring my little journal, my Hobonichi, which is a Japanese planner, and I, did some junk journaling. So I'll share more of that in my other recap videos that I do, because I did go to the Hobonichi store, Tobichi, which was so exciting. All right, kind of coming to the end of this video, one of the great things that I was smart enough to do before I left, I placed an order for a bunch of items for my shop, and he's back. Hi. Okay.
Love
I love you too. I placed an order for a bunch of items for my shop to make more amigurumi sticks, make more stitch markers, all of that fun stuff. And I say that it was smart for me to do because I am a very impatient person, and much of these products to make these come from overseas, and then I put it all together. And so because it's coming from overseas, it just takes a while. And I was able to place this stuff a bit before I left, and then I came back to a lot of it. So I unpacked so much stuff this morning to make new amigurumi sticks, to make new stitch marker designs. I cannot wait to share these items with you because I think they turned out super cute, or the items that came to build them are going to turn out super cute, and just so many more new designs that I can add. So that's stay tuned for that. There will also be a lot more crochet back on my vlog as we go into this summer, because I have a lot more market prep to do to get ready for my markets in the fall. And my list of items that I've been making is still pretty long in terms of like what I actually have to get done. So this is my little checklist. You can see there are some checks in spots, but not nearly enough. So I really need to like hunker down in making some of these things. Hopefully our power will be back on soon, because that's where many of my patterns are. I do have some on my iPad, but my iPad is very old and is probably dead right now because it was not charged while I was on my trip. But anyways, if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for sticking with me, as well as the fact that I was gone and your patience for while I was gone. Let me know what you were working on while you were watching this, if you were crocheting anything yourself or just enjoying my babbling. I'm so glad to be back though, and I have lots more fun things coming. So if you like this, please hit that like button, subscribe so you can follow along with some of my updates, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks so much. Bye.